The Yellow Turbans will fight for the people. Hey, how's it going? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome to an exclusive look at the Yellow Turbans. This is a pre-order bonus for Total War 3 Kingdoms, and if you are looking to pre-order Total War 3 Kingdoms and you live in Europe, then you can go ahead and use my link down below in the description. That'll take you to Games Planet, which go ahead and work directly with publishers such as Sega to go ahead and bring you guys cheaper deals. So I think at the moment you can go ahead and pick this game up or pre-order the game for 16% off, and they'll just send you a Steam key. Unfortunately, the deal is only available in Europe, but if you are in Europe, then it's a pretty good way to help support the channel and also get yourself a cheaper game. So yes, we're going to be taking a look at the Yellow Turbans today, and I have brought, I think, 2 of the Warlords that you'll be able to play as in the campaign. I'm going up against Pixelated Apollo. A link to his channel will be down below in the description, as he also has a cool replay, and we are going to be going up against Sao. Sao is going to be his commander, so it should be a very, very exciting battle. You can see some yellow dragons here, some pretty elite axe infantry that he has at his disposal. But let's just run through the full armies. I don't tend to do this as often, but because the game isn't out yet and you guys want to see a lot of the units, let's go ahead and run through what we are bringing to the battlefield. So I'll start off with my Yellow Turban forces, and as you can see on my right flank, I do have some of these Yellow Turban Horsemen, which are kind of like a saber cavalry. They're good at getting stuck in, but they're not going to do as much damage on the shock. Then I have my Virtuous Noblemen. These guys are very decent. They are kind of like an upgraded version of my saber cavalry. They're very good at like shock damage, as well as getting stuck in. As you can see, they're axe infantry, so they'll do decent on the impact, and they'll also stay around. Then I have my first Warlord. This guy is a pretty decent fighter. He can get stuck in and do some serious damage. He also gives bonuses to cavalry and other allies that are around him. So for example, I can stick him with my cavalry and they'll be a lot faster and also have a bit more morale. So he's a very good one to kind of stick in the thick of things. Then on my front line, I do have 2 units of these Yellow Turban Spearmen, just basic Spearmen, nothing too special, kind of like just filling out my army. Behind that, I do have some Yellow Turban Heralds. These guys are quite cool because they just have these huge kind of like iron maces, but for armor and defense against missiles, they're going to get absolutely minced. I also have some swordsmen as well on my front line, the Yellow Turban Warriors. Again, these are kind of like my stock troops. These are the guys who are always going to be in my army and just holding the front line. So they'll do good. But then we bring to kind of the special part of my army, these Watchmen of the Peace. These crossbows are insanely good. They have kind of like a Pavis shield on their back, and they just do so much damage. They shoot extremely quickly, and they have great armor penetration. So these are the kind of the meat of my army in this battle. I'm going to be using these guys to kind of just hammer away at Apollo's forces, killing his missiles, killing his infantry, and hopefully killing some of his cavalry. I have another legendary lord, or I guess warlord is what they're calling it. This guy, Gongdu, is a monster. He has this huge mace that he carries around the battlefield, and I believe he's going to fight Guan Yu this battle, because Apollo has brought Guan Yu. He's brought Guan Yu and Gong Sun Sao to the battlefield. And then finally, I do have this Yellow Turban guy as well, who, again, he does do some serious damage. Like, all the Yellow Turbans, their generals are all pretty decent in fighting, on dueling. They can all hold their own. But yeah, these guys are really good. I think this symbol for the Yellow Turbans, which is a veteran, they're kind of the fighter classes, which is like the champion for the other factions. Like Guan Yu is a champion, yeah. So the veteran is kind of like the Yellow Turban champion. Then if you take a look at Apollo's army really quickly, here's some militia on the flanks. He then also has some heavy infantry. These guys do look pretty nasty. Definitely don't want to get on their wrong side if I can help it. But I think this battle is going to force us. And is that his entire front line? No, it's only a little bit of his front line. He then has some heavy armored spearmen. Then behind that, he does have the axes we looked at earlier. And then kind of like a weaker archer force, and then a decent amount of cavalry back here. He's got some just basic melee cavalry and also some shock cavalry. So let's kick this bad boy off. We'll get the battle started and dive right into it. So for Apollo's army, he's kind of gone heavy on the spear front line, heavy on the axe line, kind of weaker cavalry force. and kind of barely any missiles, where for me, I've gone heavy on the archers, kind of weak on the infantry, and then pretty heavy on the cavalry. So we're going to be able to see this unfold and see basically how the battle does turn out. I've also got a really good siege battle me and Apollo fought, so be sure to keep an eye out for that on the channel over the coming videos, because it's going to be very, very exciting. Like, trust me, the siege battle is awesome. So we're going to form up right now. Apollo is going to be volleying off some of his archers right away, and what I've done right here is kind of interesting, because I kind of tend to do this quite often in my battles, is I stick up some spearmen on my front line, basically to try and disrupt Apollo's formation as much as possible. Because when players tend to attack, they tend just to throw everything forward, and this will really mess up the opponent's battle line. Something I really probably should have done is go ahead and stick these guys a little bit further apart, so they kind of gaps appear, which I can exploit. We're going to have to see how that one does go down. But as you can see, Gongdu is charging into the battlefield right now. And he's yeah, there you go, he's charging. Oh no, that's what we do, yeah. Gongdu is about to engage Guan Yu in Mortal Kombat, which is going to be absolutely crazy. And as you can see, he just got absolutely smashed off of his horse. Not a great way to this duel, but I believe Guan Yu is going to jump off of his horse and fight me on foot. Also, Apollo hasn't brought the legendary variant of Guan Yu, and that's probably why I stand a chance in this battle. Because in multiplayer, you can pick from, I think, 3 different variants of the general, and as you pick the higher ones, you spend more money, but you level them up, basically. And they kind of get a preset better stats as you level them up, and they get their better weapons, etc., and armor. And by the looks of it, he's gone ahead and decided to bring a pretty cheap Guan Yu to the battlefield, and that's going to give my general a bit of a chance. So the front lines have clashed, and my crossbows are now unloading these arrows or bolts onto his line. And you can see I'm just demolishing anything back here. You can see these archers just shred as we go ahead and get our arrows in. Yeah, look at this. You're going to see a lot of people drop. Oh my god, we killed like 20 dudes right there from like a 1 volley or so. That's insane. Yeah, these crossbows are amazing. One of the things I really don't like about the battles in Total War 3 Kingdoms are these arrow trails. They're just so disgusting to me personally. I hate them, and I know you can turn them off, but then if you turn them off, you can't see what's going on in the battle. So yeah, hopefully there's going to be a mod pretty quickly after release that I can change that, just to make them less like in your face and a bit more chill, I would say. So as you can see, the front lines have now engaged, and we are fighting bravely to go ahead and repel him. However, this is always going to be a losing battle, right? I've spent my money on my crossbows and on my cavalry, so, Apollo is going to really have the advantage when it does come to his infantry. He has Cao Cao in the front line buffing his men. He's got natural ally stacking up. But I have managed to get a really good cavalry charge right here into the rear of his militia. And this is awesome because his militia are his weaker infantry units. So if I can break these guys quickly, then I can focus my attention elsewhere and try and hit more of his front line. Which are maybe a little bit more deadly. Also, look how great this has been as well. This tactic is really working. I've just got some basic Yellow Turban spearmen, and they are holding back, some very expensive units. And it's allowing me to now push my swordsman into his flanks. Cavalry charges into the back as well. So yeah, I'm really hammering away these militia units on the flank. And you can see my crossbows are now focusing down on his cavalry, and just look at the devastation these crossbows are causing. We've managed to rout a unit of his archer militia, and now I'm hitting a lot of his cavalry as well, so it's a really effective position. Over on this flank as well, Apollo has dived in his saber cavalry to help support his axe infantry, and that's going to basically initiate me to throw in my saber cavalry as well as my shot cavalry as well. Well, not my shot cavalry, but my Virtuous Noblemen. And I think I also have a general here as well somewhere. Yeah, I've thrown in one of my other veterans as well, who is, again, a good person at killing other units. And look at this! I'm actually winning against Guan Yu, which you don't see too often. But from what I remember, I'm pretty sure that I brought a fairly upgraded general, whereas it doesn't look like Guan Yu is upgraded whatsoever. So, I'm kind of taking a hardened battle veteran, whereas Apollo is taking a little baby Guan Yu who is still just beyond frightening. And even still, he's putting up an extremely good fight. But this is also a very interesting tactic. Something I think is going to be very interesting when it comes to Three Kingdoms is using your heroes to fight one another, because you don't necessarily always have to win a duel for it to be useful. You can tie down an extremely powerful general by simply just dueling him with one of your weaker generals and then use that to crush the opponent's army. You don't necessarily have to win every duel for it to be successful. Well, that was a bit of a weird animation, a bit of a late reaction right there, but there is no match combat, so it's just kind of like people slapping each other in Three Kingdoms like it is in Warhammer Total War. There's no like match combat, it's just two sides hitting one another, which personally I don't mind too much. It really, like, at first I was a bit off of it, but the more I play, I feel like it doesn't really affect gameplay as much in the kind of Warhammer style what the game is. So as you can see, my flanks are starting to break a little bit, and Apollo is getting some of his more elite spearmen onto my crossbowmen. Luckily, the crossbowmen can hold their own, as we said previously, so they're going to be engaging the rest of his force. I have my general, who is a scholar, who's kind of more like a commander, fighting, and I formed this really, really cool box right now with my infantry. I'm just trying to pound away on these flanks, trying to break up his flanks as much as I can and push forward. My cavalry is winning the day, which is really important, and my crossbows have annihilated his missiles. Apollo just doesn't have any missiles on the field right there. And there we go. Gongdu has managed to beat Guan Yu. I mean, that's going to be a pretty interesting feat, and he's going to dive back up on his horse, I think, or maybe not. Maybe I told him to do something else. Gong Sun Sao has also engaged my other general as well, which is really good for me because, again, I think Gong Sun Sao is going a vanguard unit, which is really good at killing like units like infantrymen and cavalry and stuff like that. He's not necessarily as good at dueling, whereas my general is, you know, basically a dueler. He's meant for killing champions. So I'm actually going to really effectively slaughter Guan Yu. But there you go. You can see right here, because the advantage is very much in my favor in this battle. All Gong Sun Sao has to do is survive for 50 minutes as the cavalry pours round as these two guys continue to duel one another. So yeah, all Gong Sun Sao has to survive for 40 minutes, and he kind of gets the ability to like win the duel. I have to just kill him in that set amount of time. Unfortunately, he's not going to do it, but again, that's an interesting trade-off. But if you can get a really tanky hero to fight one of their really good heroes, you can come out on top. Also, Cao is dishonorably charging down my general, who is not on horseback right now and is just charging. And I mean, look how sick he looks with that mace on his back as Cao just comes around and hits him. And all I need to do is try and get this guy into combat, and that would be really useful. Quickly taking a look at the rest of the battlefield right now, we can see that the left flank has kind of, you know, just devolved into pretty hard fighting. I've got spearmen and cavalry along with one of my generals trying to kill his yellow dragons, but they're very tough to break up. I also have a lot of crossbows coming in as well. But these guys are now out of ammunition, so my missile advantage is kind of out of it. Also, look at this. His general might actually... Does his general win this battle? I've got like 3 seconds to win. I know, I managed to emerge victorious. I guess he must have died on that charge. That's an extremely close battle right there. Wow. Really, really close battle. Cao is now locked into mortal combat with the rest of my infantry. I'll be trying to break him down. I've got my infantry pushing around the flank. So the battle's looking pretty good. You can see it's kind of in my favor. Apollo definitely does still have a chance because he has some, you know, pretty tasty infantry left. But I just really have the numbers. And now I'm starting to break a large portion of his army. And I am going to actually claim victory, I think, this day, as we continue just to surround him. But, you know, these yellow axes, you can really see the strength of infantry. And that's one of the things I really, really dig about Three Kingdoms, is that they haven't made infantry or, you know, high-quality units rubbish. Like, I kind of feel like in Warhammer, for example, your legendary heroes can just kill entire armies eventually. Whereas in Three Kingdoms, it seems like heroes are still mortal at the end of the day. You can tie them down, and they don't do necessarily as much damage. I'm sure you can make them do as much damage. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot more stock on the common soldier, which is nice to see. So right now, Apollo has popped the unbreakable ability on Cao, so he basically just can't break. But the battle is over. I have managed to win the day, and we'll just quick speed it up as we take him down. Just literally pile everyone in on him to take him down. So yeah, guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think of the Yellow Turbans. And what do you think of Three Kingdoms Total War? Is it a game you're going to be picking up? Is it a game you're going to be waiting for a sale? Are you going to be just kind of waiting until after launch to see what it's like? Because you can buy the, well, you do get the Yellow Turbans if you wait until a week after launch. So you don't have to pre-order the game before it comes out to go ahead and unlock this bonus. You can simply just sit back, see what people say, see what the YouTubers say and the reviews on Steam say, and then grab the game up a week after launch and still gain this pre-order bonus. The same is said for my planet, my Games Planet link as well. So if we take a look at the kills, you can see my generals didn't really kill a lot of soldiers, but that's not what they were there for. They're veterans. They're there for killing his heroes. And if I could, reduce Guan Yu and Gongsun Zhao to only having 13 kills between them, I will take that. My infantry, yeah, you can see everything was my cavalry and my crossbows. These guys getting over almost 350 kills, almost 400 kills. And my crossbows as well, just doing work. That's kind of what I spent my money in, and I'm happy it led me to victory. So if you guys enjoyed this, be sure to drop a like and a comment down below. Subscribe for more Total War Free Kingdoms. Check out my pre-existing Total War Free Kingdoms content on the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.